Hi everyone, it's Marissa from bumblebeeapothecary.com. Today I'd like to show you how to make a stew that is perfect for stage 2 of the GAPS introduction diet. So let's jump right into the recipe, and as I'm working I'm going to talk a little bit more about the recipe and about the things that you can think about eating on this stage in particular and all kinds of other good stuff. So let's get started. The first thing that I'm going to be doing is I'm going to have my crock pot turned on and I'm going to start melting some fat in it. So I'm going to be using tallow. It is my all-time favorite fat. If you've been on my channel, you know that already. I also really like it for the GAPS diet because it's a fat that doesn't involve dairy and things like that, and it's one that most people do very well with no matter what else they happen to be sensitive to. So I especially love it for those first stages in the GAPS introduction diet. So I have that into my crock pot and it is going to melt in there. The next thing that I'm going to be doing is I'm going to chop up some vegetables and get them in there with the fat. Now I'm going to be using carrots, zucchini, and tomatoes in this particular recipe. Winter squash like butternut squash or delicata would also be a really great choice. I just wasn't able to find any. It's not in season right now. I don't have any left from our garden and I couldn't find it in any stores. We're working with what we have right now and it's really everything except for the winter squash. So I'm going to be doing carrots, zucchini, and tomatoes, and you could really do so many different vegetables though, and I really do encourage you to get creative and experiment with any of the allowed vegetables when you're making a stew like this. You can make lots of different versions of it depending on what's in season and what you like. So don't be limited by just what I'm using. Definitely get creative and try different things. But this is a really great way to get started. So I'm just going to chop these carrots up and add them to the crock pot so that they can start getting into that melting tallow that's in there. Next I'm going to do my zucchini. Again, just kind of coarsely chopping to get these into a nice size and shape that's going to work well for a stew. Now this is going to be a chicken stew, but again, there are a lot of different possibilities with the meat that you choose. What you want to look for when you're thinking about what meat you want to use is you want it to have skin and bones and fat. Those types of cuts of meat are going to give you the best healing nutrients while you're on the GAPS diet. So avoid something like white, skinless, boneless chicken breast or something like that. Go for bone in, skin on, thighs, drumsticks, and those types of meat. Okay, and then I'm going to add some tomatoes as well. So fresh tomatoes, we want to try to avoid canned things when possible and stick to fresh. That'll give us the best quality nutrients. And if there's ever a time that that's important, that is on the GAPS introduction diet. Really the full GAPS diet, but these stews that you can make on the GAPS diet are also really easy to throw together. It's just a little bit of chopping vegetables and that's really it. You just do that and throw everything together into the crock pot, let it cook, and you're good to go. And it makes a good amount of food too, so you have enough to last you for a while, which is nice. You can kind of give yourself a little break from cooking after a bit. Next thing I'm going to add to the crock pot is my meat. Now I intended to do chicken thighs for this recipe, but again, we're a little bit limited as far as what's available in stores right now, so I'm going with drumsticks. But these still fit all of the things that I said that you should look for in meat. They have skin, bones, and they're fatty, dark meat, so they will work just fine for this. So I'm going to lay them in here on top of my chopped vegetables. One of the things that I love about these stews also is that when you have your bone-in meat in there and some water, you're actually making meat stock at the same time that you're making your meal. so you don't have to think about so many extra steps. It's like an all-in-one thing that includes all your vegetables, your meat, and your meat stock. The next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to chop up some fresh herbs. You can do parsley, thyme, rosemary, sage. I have parsley and sage here, and I'm just going to kind of chop these coarsely and then sprinkle them in on top of the chicken. Trying to avoid any coarse stems or anything and get just the leaves. All right, and then I'm just going to add some salt. This is kind of just to taste, depending on how much you're making. I don't measure a lot of the time anyway, so I'm just gonna sprinkle some on what looks good. You can always add more, but so just don't add too much, but that looks good. And then last of all, we're just going to put some water in there to bring it up to pretty much where it's going to start to cover the chicken. It'll probably evaporate some while it's cooking, so go ahead and just cover that chicken and you should be good to go. And then we're just going to turn that to low, add our lid, and then we're going to let that cook on low for about 6 to 8 hours. Once the time is up, you'll just want to double check that that chicken looks done, that it's kind of tender and falling off the bone and is obviously cooked, and it should be ready to eat right then. Then you'll want to just add whatever add-ins you're using up to that point. You can do your egg yolks, soft-boiled eggs if you're doing those. You want to remember to add your probiotic food. A nice dollop of sour cream is great if you're using that, or you can do some sauerkraut liquid, whatever you're using and doing well with. So I really hope that you enjoyed seeing how to make a recipe that you can use on the very early stages of the GAPS introduction diet. I really encourage you to get creative and try different vegetables and different meats and come up with different combinations so you don't get tired of eating kind of the same thing over and over again. Get creative and use lots of different vegetables and different meats. If you give this a try, leave me a comment below and let me know what you think of it. Let me know what kinds of meats and vegetables you used and how yours turned out. Remember to take care of yourself during these stages of the GAPS introduction diet. It's something you should always do, but especially just give yourself time to relax and heal. And remember, in our fast-paced modern world, we oftentimes don't want to take time for things, but it's so important. Healing takes time. And you want to make sure that you just slow down and give it that time. Looking back, you'll be like, that really wasn't that much time at all, and you'll be so thankful that you did it right and healed so that you can have a good foundation of health for the rest of your life. I have lots of other GAPS diet videos on my channel about doing the GAPS diet, tips and information, as well as other recipes. I'll link some of those below. I'll also have a link below to my blog post with a printable recipe card in case you'd like to grab that. I'll also have links below to some resources, like one of my favorite places to buy organic groceries and pantry staple items, as well as the crock pot that I use. Also, if you're new here, I wanted to mention that I have a free ebook called GAPS Diet Essential Recipes. It covers all of the recipes that you need to know how to make for the GAPS introduction diet, all of the basic foods all in one ebook, so there'll be a link below where you can grab that. Okay, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, share it with anybody else who you think might want to learn how to make a GAPS Stage 2 delicious stew. If you're new to my channel, please hit that subscribe button. You can also click the bell so you're notified when I upload a new video. Here on my channel, I show you how to make nourishing recipes for nutrient-dense food, natural remedies, and DIY skincare and home products. So if those are something that you're interested in and you're new to my channel, please hit that subscribe button. I get out 2 videos every week. Thanks so much for watching. See you next time. Bye.